And she gave birth to her firstborn and wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in a manger because there was no room in the inn. I remember awaiting my firstborn and experienced such deep, deep gratitude and excitement about this child who was unknown to me, but was already beloved by God. And I wonder about Mary and her deep gratitude and her excitement about what God was going to do with her life. We can read about that in the Magnificat, but I wonder, when she wrapped that little newborn son in bands of cloth, what were her dreams? What were the hopes she had for this little child? The fabric I wanted to share in this video is a swaddling cloth of sorts. Back then it was called a receiving blanket. And this one was made by my mother-in-law, Charlotte Ross, now 40 years ago. Grammy Ross was waiting, like I was, for the arrival of this baby, who was for her her very first grandchild. Matthew's gospel tells us of some of the particulars of the family tree of Jesus. Some of those folks were racy, some were rather ordinary, some were brave, probably like all of us in our family trees. And yet God's love is woven throughout that family, and God's promises and dreams and love are for all of us. I'm not really sure of all I imagined for my firstborn, who turned out to be a son. My son who preached at my installation here at Lakeside. But now, all these years later, I still have such deep, deep gratitude for the ways God has worked in his life and for the generations of family who have loved him and instructed him well. So today's thread, this baby blanket, like Mary's bands of cloth, reminds me of Psalm 90 and the words, "Lord, you have been our dwelling place from one generation to another." And I wonder, who in your family tree loved you deeply and helped you know the love of God?